Hey everybody, good evening. So I am going live on here to talk to you guys a little bit about grain bars, Nutrigrain bars. I got a question from Denise on these earlier actually, so I wanted to go ahead and answer that in a video. So I'm going to focus on the Nutrigrain bar because the ingredients list and some of the problems with Nutrigrain bars are going to be pretty consistent as to other snack bars that you might see like it, for instance, Nature Valley and other brands like that. So these are really common. They're cheap, easy, quick to grab snacks. Calorie wise, most of them aren't terrible. A Nutrigrain bar, I want to say, is like 130 calories. Yes, 130 calories. It has 3 grams of fats, so pretty low in fat. So most of it's going to be 25 grams of carbs, 2 grams of protein. So again, not high in protein, but not high in fat. So basically just a decent source of carbs, some might say, or that's what they're marketing it as. So the problem with these bars is they are ultra processed. And so I would recommend stay away from these. And I'm just going to go over a few of the ingredients. The ingredients list is ginormous. But I want to focus on some of the main ones. So high fructose corn syrup. Obviously, a lot of us are aware that it's bad, but the reason why it's bad is A, it causes systemic inflammation, B, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Though I would say the worst part of it is the addictive properties. So high fructose corn syrup, people made this in a lab to make you want more. Like there are scientists whose entire job it is to develop these chemicals to put in your food that's going to make you grab another chip or grab another bar or take another bite. Because the more of it that you eat, the more of it that you buy, and the more money that these big food companies make. So, addictive properties of high fructose corn syrup. It also has a negative impact on your gut microbiome. So, bloating, inflammation, digestive issues is very common with this. The other problem with Nutrigrain bars in particular is gonna be it's actually put on here as partially hydrogenated soybean and cottonseed oil. So we know that seed oils aren't the best, and I'll get into that in a second, but when it says partially hydrogenated, that's just a fancy term for trans fat. And trans fats are terrible for you. They are known for decreasing your HDL and increasing your LDL cholesterol, causing a condition called dyslipidemia. And so that is not good. HDL is the good cholesterol that we want more of. LDL is the bad cholesterol that we want less of. And so it throws off your blood lipid profile. The FDA actually banned trans fats in 2015 and made a rule that they have to be labeled if there was any. And when I say ban, I think it means there has to be less than a certain amount because otherwise it shouldn't be on the label at all and should not be selling foods with trans fats, even though they are. But it is required by law that it's labeled on the nutrition facts. And so it is a trans fat. Anytime that you see partially hydrogenated, that is a trans fat. That is what that means. So another ingredient to look out for in Nutrigrain bar specifically is going to be red dye number 40. Now, a lot of people know this is bad, but they don't necessarily know why it's bad. So red dye number 40 is actually more so linked to hyperactivity in neurological disorders in children, depression. It's linked to ADHD, hives, asthma, allergic reactions. And this is because it's a synthetic food that's actually made from petroleum. And so it is potentially cancerous along with yellow 5 and yellow number 6. So red dye number 40 is not good. If you knew it was bad, but you didn't know why, that's going to give you some insight right there. Super common ingredient, but in Nutrigrain bars and some of those snack foods, it's going to be in there. Another one is TBHQ. I would attempt pronouncing the name of that, but honestly, it is so ridiculous, I'm not even going to go for it. So TBHQ, don't worry, it's not going to be listed all the way out when you see it on an ingredients label. It will be labeled just TBHQ, the acronym, just like I said it. And this is mostly known for vision disturbances. It's neurotoxic and causes liver enlargement. This is one that you want to be on the lookout for. TBHQ is in a whole bunch of stuff. You can see just from those few ingredients there that Nutrigrain bars have a lot of just highly processed ingredients that cause problems outside of just obesity and weight gain, which they are linked to that again because of the addictive properties of the food, the gut disturbances, the fatty liver, the throwing off your lipid profile. All that stuff is not good. Now, one other thing with products like that, like the bars that you grab, is the thickening agent. So some other not great ingredient it's going to have is going to be modified cornstarch. This is linked to obesity and iron deficiency anemia, which it wouldn't necessarily be an issue by itself, but then you've got xanthan gum, which is linked to gut microbiome disturbances, lecithin, sodium alginate, and cornstarch and soluble corn fiber. So if we're thinking about just modifying cornstarch by itself, that's a super common ingredient that's used to thicken products, a thickening agent. But the thing is, I just listed one, two, three, four, five other thickening agents. So that means that this Nutrigrain bar, and this is just what I picked out. There's like 50 ingredients. There is 6 different thickening agents that I just listed off. And I didn't even go over all the ingredients. So, why do we need 6 different thickening agents? Not to mention there's sugar and honey also in this bar, which both of those tend to also thicken products. Pretty wild. Now, coming back to the seed oils, there is several different seed oils that are in the ingredients label of this one as well. Now, seed oils, a lot of people will say that they're terrible for you. The truth is, they wouldn't be. The problem with seed oils is that they're super high in omega-6. And so omega-6, we actually need a little bit. Our bodies produce a little bit of it. You need that to be healthy. The problem is it's too abundant in most people's diet. It's kind of like fats. Fats are healthy. We need a certain amount, but that is the number one most overconsumed macronutrient in the American diet. Omega-6, overly consumed in the American diet. So just to put it in perspective, too much of this will cause systemic inflammation in your body. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is going to be a 2-to-1 ratio. Most Americans have a 10-to-1 or 20-to-1 ratio. That's where the problem is. And it's because seed oils, they're cheap, they're ultra processed, and they're in most processed food items because they're cheap. In small amounts wouldn't be an issue. When overconsumed, it can be a big issue when we're talking about systemic inflammation. When we're looking at convenience foods, like just bars that you grab and go, you definitely want to be picky, and less ingredients is better. I'll make it a point to like look over some ingredients and try, and maybe Sam and I will come up with a recipe for some no-bake, like oatmeal protein bars, whatever. Let's say you're on your fitness journey and maybe it's hard for you to stay away from some of those processed foods because they are addictive. If you can see that big food companies are trying to make you sick while also taking your money, and then you get sick and then you have to go get on drugs and pharmaceuticals that they also own, they're getting you from buying their food, then they're making you sick, and then they're also getting you from buying their pharmaceutical drugs. That's a really good reason to avoid those foods that gives you something other than just an aesthetic goal, because aesthetic goals and motivation and these little things, I talked about it a little bit the other day, they're fleeting. And so if you can have a reason like health in, certain entities that are trying to just profit off of you by making you sick, it makes it a lot easier to say no to those things. Stick to your menu. If we're talking about snack food items, guys, stick to like a non-fat yogurt, rice cakes, food with less ingredients. There, I listed off a few ingredients that you want to look out for. It's not to say all processed food is bad, but I would definitely stay away from some of those grain bars, especially if the ingredients list looks super long. Why do we need 6 different thickening agents in one bar? Plus sugar and honey, like, and high fructose corn syrup. Like, what are we doing? So anyways, I hope that gives you some insight. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. So EWG gives food scores to different snack food products, and EWG is the Environmental Working Group. And so they basically they rate foods on a scale of 1 to 10. The closer it is to 10, the worse it is and the more caution you need to take. A Nutrigrain bar was an 8 because it's low protein, it's high carb, there's a lot of sketchy ingredients in there, it's ultra processed and not very good for you. So again, that one, an 8 out of 10 being watch out for that food product means it is mostly bad. I'll actually post a link to their page in the comments that you guys can check it out. Look up food, snack foods that you like eating, see how it scores, and have that as a resource. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have questions, comments, concerns. If you want to see more stuff like this, please drop a like or a comment, and I will see you guys next time.